Greetings and welcome to COVID Connections, Episode 5, Finding Diamonds in Shit Piles, the Gift of Perception. So today I just want to talk a little bit about, as human beings, we have this gift that was given to us, and it's called perception of how we look at things. And so I was just thinking about yesterday, I'm trying to wrap my head around common nouns and proper nouns, and I haven't even thought about it for about 32 years probably. So trying to explain the difference, and I couldn't. And I remember Kai was just looked at me and she's like, "Mom, weren't you a teacher?" And she was like totally confused. And I was like, "Yes, honey, but I was a ninth grade teacher." And she's like, "Well, then why don't you know all of this stuff?" And so I tried to explain to her, like, well, I didn't go to college to be able to teach elementary things. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to do this stuff. And so I had some work things going on, and I could just feel like this frustration and this like, kind of overwhelming feeling. And then all of a sudden I look over and my phone was going off and it said Dad Cell Google Duo. And all of a sudden my dad had called and wanted to see how we were doing. And so we could see him. And all of a sudden my perception of like my super stressed day and I have to do this and I have to figure out how to be an elementary teacher when I'm not was like, I get to do this. And oh my gosh, my dad was just in the hospital 2 days ago and now he's calling and seeing how we're doing. And so my perception just changed of like how grateful I am in that moment. And so I feel that when we get overwhelmed, that we can just try to flip our script and say, instead of this is going on with me, like, I am grateful that this, and that's really about perception. I think a story that is very close to me about perception is my Aunt Carla. If you ever like are stopped in your tracks, I had a moment that I was stopped in my tracks over perception. And so a few years ago, my cousin Haley had gone missing, and we couldn't find her. My mom had called me. I was on the way to a conference in the cities. I'm like, nope, haven't heard, seen her. I don't know. A couple days later, I was at this conference, and my phone rang, and it was Mom, and she had told me that they had found Haley, and she had been dead. And what happened that evening, I will never forget. I packed up my stuff in the cities, went to my aunt's house by White Earth, Lisa's, and I was sitting on the couch with Carla, and we were just like in this moment. And she looked at me and she said, "Julie, I'm so grateful that our family gets closure. There's so many families out there that still don't know where their children are." And I just remember like, that's it. That's finding diamonds in a shit pile right there. And so I want to thank you, Carla, if you're watching this, and everybody else. To just, our perception, and things could always be worse, and that we can take time to find gratitude in what we do have. So we might not have all the control around us and what's going on in the world, but we do have control of how we perceive things. So I just want to talk a little bit about that, and I hope all of us can make a list in our mind or on paper about the things that we're grateful for today and how we can find some diamonds in the shit pile of what's going on in the world right now. Thank you and have a great weekend.